You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live.
Hello, welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast and our end of season review. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, to take us through the 2021-22 season. I'm joined by Pat Rowe, Preece and Mat Kendrick. You got a big smile on your face, Matt.
No, just seeing you kind of squirm and having to present properly rather than down the edge of a video camera.
Yeah, it's strange doing it together in person. Last time we were here was 9 months ago. Obviously, me, Ash and Matt, you were here. We had James sat in this seat. We've swapped him out for someone else. Someone else who wears glasses and knows stuff about stats. Pat,
that's it.
Your first in-person podcast debut. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's thankful the season's over, but it's weird to see everyone in it. We went to the Villa the other day.
Yeah,
it just felt normal because we speak every day. But yeah, it's weird to finally see people that I work with. So yeah, it's good.
Ash, all good with you?
Yeah. Glad the season's over now. A bit of a rest spot, but obviously transfer season in full flow. But yeah. Pleased with how the season ended a little bit. There's a bit of momentum going into the next one, but yeah, looking forward to the next one already.
And as we're recording this, the birthday boy on the end, Matt.
Hey.
Many happy returns.
21 today.
Yeah, good. Are you at the age now that kind of cuts off a Villa career, do you think?
Somebody said that to me. Somebody texted me that this morning. I was like, break it to me gently, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. You know, how old was Brad Friedel? Was he 40?
He was 40, I think.
Like, yeah, probably.
Okay.
Upset me now.
Sorry, I'll preface the next kind of 45, 60 minutes, however long this is, we're saying that we're recording this on Wednesday, the 25th, is it?
Yeah, 25th.
Yeah, okay. So if Villa happen to sign somebody between now and when this goes out, that kind of throws things out a little bit. So take that with a pinch of salt. There was quite the level of optimism, wasn't there, from us three? You weren't here then, Pat. Kind of going Villa to finish 8th, Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins are going to score 35 goals, and then in classic Villa fashion, they lose on the opening day.
Yeah.
What were your memories of that one, Ash?
I remember it, vividly, to be honest with you. It all unravelled a week or two before. John Terry left, Richard O'Kelly left, and you had Dean Smith doing the warm-up with the lads. He never usually does that. So he had his coppers on, he's helping the lads do the warm-up. And obviously, had a shocker down there, didn't they? In the sun, Matt Tyler got hooked off at half-time. He was getting rinsed, and it's a bad day at the office. You're thinking, hang on a minute, where are we going from there? Got Newcastle next at home. But yeah, that's a bad one, down the Vicarage Road. Bit of a wake-up call. I know they're added late on, but yeah, quite an alarming one. And you're coming back from that thinking, are they good as they make out to be? But yeah, that's my memories of Watford. Matt Target having a struggle and yeah, being a bit wary for the next fixture, but yeah.
I feel like we might have even said it in the August preview one, saying there's a lot of optimism. We've got a newly promoted side on the first day. It's typical Villa to go and lose that, but I didn't quite expect that we would.
We're supposed to, aren't we? You know, when we do our pre-season one, you know, in 6 weeks.
We'll be more cautious this time.
6 weeks time. Do you think? I don't think we will.
I will be, yeah.
You know, I'll be saying Coutinho will get 473 assists. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's Aston Villa, isn't it? And we probably should have been, knowing the way that the back end of the previous season ended, we probably should have been a little bit more reserved. But you know, if you can't be excited in pre-season, that's the time when you're second in the league, isn't it?
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm still dreaming of the day that Arsenal fall out of the league, so we can actually claim the alphabet league.
It was third, wasn't it, a couple of years ago? AFC Bournemouth up there.
That's
as well.
it. Yeah. Knowing our luck, Aardvark United or something will join, won't they, or the Automobile Association. But no, I think we're going to discuss this season as a whole. But it was, for me, it was a very, very Aston Villa season and very, very, very Aston Villa time in terms of set your sights high, promise that something good's going to happen, and then it just crumbles.
Yeah, we've got the random mug of questions from fans that have sent stuff in. There is one in there about like why has the season kind of unravelled, you know, disjointed pre-season, Grealish going, that kind of thing. But we'll get to that later. I'm not necessarily going to run through every game, but that start of the season, Watford, Newcastle and Brentford, loss, win, draw, pretty underwhelming, isn't it, that really?
I mean, I went into it with my usual level of blind optimism, I thought. But it was always going to be tough, wasn't it? Like Ash mentioned, John Terry and Richard O'Kelly going, and then obviously Grealish going. It was always going to be a rebuild. I felt like before the season I was saying like our 8th would be a really good season, but I also was going to settle for like a 10th or an 11th. Finishing 14th is quite underwhelming, isn't it? But yeah, it's just one of those. Watford doing the double over you in the season, but they go down. It's not really acceptable, is it? Yeah. But like they've made their intentions clear. Like first day after the season, we've signed Boubacar Kamara, one of the most highly rated centre midfielders in the world. and they're setting the standard going into next season now. So once again hopeful.
Yeah, we did our Kamara. Yeah, getting carried away already. We did our Kamara episode, and I think Neil from the Full of Paul McGrath podcast raved about him more so than even you have. And we will get to Kamara later in this. I imagine this podcast will kind of jump around a little bit all over the place, so bear with me. I'm not going to go through every game like I said, but there were 2 League Cup games for Villa this season. Barrow 6-0, and then Chelsea out on penalties. Again, going back to August last year, we're saying, what would be success? Villa having a decent cup run for one is a start. Pretty rubbish in both cups, weren't we? Let's face it.
It just gives me. It feels like a different lifetime ago when El Ghazi's Panenka in the Barrow keeper and giving it loads.
Yeah.
That probably would go into my top 10 highlights from the from the season, which probably in itself gives you an idea of how it's gone. Yeah, I mean, we always say that, don't we? We always say, well, I'm a big believer that any trophy, I would still, Christian Perslow and the money men at Villa would say, well, shut up, Matt. I'd rather take top 4 and get the lucrative, funds that follow that. But for me, it's been too long, hasn't it, since Villa won silverware. So sod's law, who do we come up against? Chelsea in the League Cup, give them a really good go close with them. And then Manchester United away, which is the fixture that I just think,
How many times have we played that fixture?
Scary.
It's just, in hindsight now, if you're going to win one game away at Old Trafford, you'd probably rather win that one and cop for not winning the one in the league. But
they had a decent run going into it. The rest of that was in Middlesbrough, and then it was an easier run, I think. So
is that the end of your point?
Yeah, we're not. Well, my interest in the cups ended the day that we were knocked out, to be honest, mate. So don't start building me up about next year's FA. I mean, maybe next year is the year we win the FA Cup. You never know, do you?
I did say then we were rubbish in the cups, but that Chelsea game was alright. I thought we played well, didn't we, in that League Cup second game?
Yeah, Prince William was there. I remember that one, and Cameron Archer's header as well out of nowhere. Brilliant goal, and typical to lose on penalties. Give it a good go, and close again. So hopefully. I'm building myself up again now. Hopefully we go a bit further next time, so we'll see.
Lost to Chelsea in the league as well, beating Everton at home and Man United away in 2 probably decent results of the season. The Everton game is one that people tend to go back to as a Saturday night. Leon Bailey burst onto the scene.
Burst his groin with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've kind of set ourselves up thinking, what might be some exciting moments this season from Bailey and this squad, and how that's turned out in the end.
Yeah, it's one of those. I feel like the main thing I thought about when Bailey arrived was that blistering pace, and then he showed it there, didn't he? He showed it against Watford as well, and he dropped his shoulder, whipped the ball in, McGinn curled one in. I was thinking this is going to be. He's got that wow factor to him. He's got that get the fans off the bum type thing in games. But after that injury, I don't know what happened to him, to be honest. I don't know if that's affected him, or I know he's been playing through illness as well, a few games, and he's got the ankle injury now, but. Been disappointed to say the least, hasn't it? I don't know if it's whether or not the system doesn't fit him. I know Gerrard doesn't really play with wingers. Whether or not he can play as that number 10 in there, or I don't really rate him as a forward.
He had to go up front, didn't he, as well?
It was Wolves, wasn't it? The Wolves game. I didn't really rate that. If you want someone to play up front, you play Ings. I don't know if he was available on that one, but they were saying going into next season, Bailey could play there, and I was like, it's like Troy Ore against Burnley played there as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
I'd just rather have a striker. I'd rather Cameron Archer get the opportunity next season. But yeah, it's just been underwhelming. So I'm looking for a bit more from Bailey. But that was, me and my girlfriend, that was her first game, the Everton game. And the first game she ever watched was the 7-2 against Liverpool. So she's a bit of a good luck charm, to be honest.
Against Merseyside clubs only.
Yeah, against Merseyside. I'll just bring her out for that. I'll wheel her out for that one.
My wife, so she's a keeper. My wife's first 2 games were Inter Milan when we won our penalties, and Tranmere. When we won
the duality of football.
So she's not been since. I mean, she's got it sussed. I've had to go through years and years of misery. Mind you, so she, I suppose, being married to me. But if you can get
keep her there.
Yeah, if you can get women who actually get Villa to win games,
that's it.
Keep them there.
Good.
For
just
life.
Be careful bashing the table, by the way.
Right.
So, Man United away. Talk to me, Ash. First time we've beaten them there since 2009. A Gabby goal that day.
Yeah.
Again, probably one of the standout performances and results of the season looking back.
Yeah, looked really good. 3-5-2 that was, wasn't it? Remember them days? Very good. I remember seeing Hilary Smith, Dean's mum, in the box next to me. She was in tears. What went on there? So proud of him. And then that was his last win, and then he got the boot a few weeks later. So, yeah, brilliant. But brilliant. That was the end
Take
of
that, Hillary.
Almost spat on beer everywhere.
I've written a little bit of a structure of this. I put that's pretty much where the good times end for Dean Smith and Hillary Smith as well.
Did you? Sorry, Hillary.
We go on to lose consecutive games after that, 5 in a row. Spurs, Wolves, Arsenal, West Ham, Southampton. 5 scored, 13 conceded. What a grim run that is.
Right, it was on the wall, wasn't it? You could just sense that. You get that feeling, don't you? Obviously, results play a big part, but you get the feeling where the manager's coming out and saying the same things, and you can see little bits of the fan base, the kind of Dino out brigade. He's gathering more pace. I still, don't want to dwell too much about what's gone on. I still think we could have finished where we finished in the league with Dean Smith. That's not to undermine what Steven Gerrard's done, because I think he has brought lots of good things. But I think it was one of those ones, wasn't it? We knew that we'd already lost Brummy Talisman and Jack Grealish in the summer, and then his partner in crime, Dean Smith. We knew that was very much the end of an era, and I think we're still in that place now at the end of this season where, okay, we've probably just about compartmentalised that and dealt with it and know that this is a new phase. But over to Villa, what have you got for us? What are you going? Those were joyous times, given what we've been through in the last kind of 10 or 15 years of Villa's decline. Getting us back in the Premier League and doing it with those kind of Brummy local heroes was great. So this next chapter is going to have to be something special, isn't it? We're going to have to deliver European nights again. We're going to have to try and see our captain, whoever it is, lifting a trophy again, which. That's not easy, is it? These 20 clubs in the Premier League who dream of that.
And lots of good Villa captains since the last time we won a trophy that have never managed to do it either.
Yeah.
Well, we've all had our say on Dean Smith on the podcast over the last few months or so. Can we say that was the right decision from the club? Because obviously Gerrard comes in and has a good start, arrests that slump, probably kind of steers us away from any potential trouble. But like Matt said, over the course of 38 games, Dean Smith could probably have got us to the heights of 14th, couldn't he? Yeah. So, right decision with hindsight?
For me? Yeah, I think it was the right decision. I think, just going back to Dean Smith, the 3-2 against Wolves was the game for me. I think if that doesn't happen, if that collapse doesn't happen, I think he might still be the manager now. But I think there was always a plan for him to kind of like shift on and move on from the getting promoted to the Premier League system and what we had going on at Villa. But yeah, I think it was the right decision. What Gerrard's got going on now, the Gerrard pull, in effect, it is a real thing. Like Dean, first thing he said, obviously Coutinho came in, didn't he? That's obviously because of Gerrard. He said that. And then the first thing Dean said is, what's happening with Coutinho? There's like a domino effect. And then at Kamara, Gerrard went and visited him, in-person scout mission. He's a well-known name, isn't he? And midfielders, I'm pretty sure the majority of midfielders would say, not look up to him, if they probably would look up to him, but know him, respect him. He's just got that thing, they want to work with him, they want to be a part of the system. And he is looking hopeful, isn't it? I think we're getting linked to players now that probably will look to elevate us into the European football. So that's the remit, and that's what he's got to do. It's just whether or not it can all come together and work next season. I
thought Dean deserved the Brighton at home game, the one after Southampton, but I think the writing was on the wall, as Matt said. Being in both company, both managers, Gerrard definitely has the aura about him. Even from his unveiling back in November, you could sense he wanted to drag you with it. Come on, we can do this now. All pulled together, and even in the interviews he's had since, you can believe in what he's saying. I think that's coming out with the interviews he's having with Kamara. I believe in this project. I'm ambitious. I want to drive it forward as well. And I think looking back, I think Villa on something exciting now. I'm getting carried away again, obviously, but with the additions he made in January as well, that'd have never happened on Dean Smith Watch, would they? Coutinho, Luca Dean.
We're probably not looking in those markets either in terms of the age profile and stuff.
No. Yeah. And a big moment for me, but he dropped Tyrone Mings for the West Ham game. Dean never dropped Tyrone Mings, so was the dressing room backlash in a way? Probably. That was a big call to make, and I think a week later he was gone. So didn't play out how he wanted, but like Pat says, I think in hindsight now, I think it was the right call based on what I've seen for the last 6 months.
We're going to do the audience questions at random, kind of at the end of the year in review. But there's one that I know kind of needs to go in now, so I'm going to read it anyway. It's from Craig. He says, "Do you think the change in manager has been successful for the club, given how the season fizzled out?" I know we've kind of just touched on it, but in the long run, you kind of feel like we're heading in the right direction now, Matt?
I think so. I mean, I think
Hope so.
before I go on, I think we need to sack the venue plan because we've got goes on with the loudest wake in the history. Bless them.
Yeah. Thanks to the Aston Inn for letting us come, by the way. It's just very busy. That's the way it is.
It is busy. You can't judge a manager, can you, on 6 to 8 months? I think what Villa have done is by making the change when they did, bringing in the guy that they did, backing him with the level of funding and being able to attract the type of player that they have done or we have done so far, is raise the expectation levels to another level, really. I mean, they're obviously laughing at my point over there. I think it was quite a valid point. I think that the expectation levels now, they've almost kind of created a benchmark or a barometer. I'm not cynical, old Matt. I'm not saying this will happen. Imagine if Gerrard starts the season the way Smith does. Can Purslow come out and defend that, given the reasons that he said for Smith's sacking? But that won't put any extra pressure on Gerrard than he's already placed on himself anyway. But I think what's happened in the last, what we're talking, when did Smith go? October time? So
start of November, I think.
So the last 6-7 months is Villa now are saying we need to be competing for Europe right now. I think you could have probably got away. The way it was going before, the kind of trajectory that we were on before was steady. I think that's kind of gone out the window now, and I think we need success now to match the ambitions of our manager, of our owners, and our chief executive. So if they don't match those, the fan base is going to be disappointed, and I'm not sure the current regime have had to really cope with a properly disappointed fan base before. So, and that's a very negative way of looking at it. I should be really excited about it, and I am, but I'm also worn down by however many years, 4 decades now of supporting Aston Villa, and knowing that it doesn't always go according to plan, knowing that we've flirted with these things before, and it's ended in tears.
Well, a good time to sack a manager is an international break, isn't it? That tends to happen a lot. There's an international tournament that kind of splits up the season next season. If Villa are 15th come November, December, there's a decision to make there. If the run of form suggests we're not going in the right direction, you've got a month, 6 weeks gap now to make a change. And I definitely don't want to be talking about that really, because I want us to be on the cusp of the top 6 by the time we get to that Qatar World Cup and go, right, now we push on in the start of 2023. Just that point in general, it feels like a weird season, doesn't it? Even for the last couple of years, we get promoted, then you have COVID, project restart, we sack the manager, new Gerrard comes in, then next season will be disrupted by the World Cup. It'd be nice just to play 38 games in a row, wouldn't it?
It would.
And I've got no
Well, it's not really here's a rhetorical question, so fair enough. Let's go to January then. Transfer window time, Dean, Coutinho, time to kind of kick on and push on. And like you're saying, that kind of suggests that Villa are going, right, here's some players for you of good quality. Do you think it kind of twisted to go, right, we want you to try and get into Europe this year? Or was it too late for that by January, do you think?
I don't know. West Ham did it with Jesse Lingard, didn't they? So maybe they were hoping with a second season push, but Villa aren't the ones to put a good run of form together in the final half of the season, are they? Absolutely capitulated last season, and it was touch and go this season. We had that good run, didn't we? I think it was Brighton, Leeds, and who's the other one?
Palace, was
Southampton, 4-0.
Yeah.
So those are the games. Then you look to the result we got against, not the result we got, the result we almost got against City. And it's like we're competing now. There's signs that we're seeing progress. And it's the players that he's brought in that are doing it. Like Luca Dean Cross, Coutinho goal, and Chambers was solid. Chambers been solid whenever he came in for me. I think he started 8 games. And he's just quality. I remember us talking at the Burnley game, and I was there going, "Oh my God, would Konza do that?" Like, his passing is sublime. And his defending as well. It's not just passing from there. His defending's quality. He's physical. He doesn't back down from a challenge. I think if you're a striker, you would rather pin yourself to Chambers than you would to Mings, but he doesn't back down from it. He does fantastic from there. So and obviously, I'm hoping Kamara goes in the same way. He's 22 years old. He might take a bit of time to settle, and he's from the Ligue 1, and obviously we've had players there that haven't been so successful in the past. So, but I think he's different gravy, to be honest. I think he is going to settle right in, especially under the watch of Gerrard. What they've done with Ramsey, the elevation he's seen, I think they're going to take him to the next level as well. So I'm excited for the recruitment, especially. Yeah.
Do you think that even though Coutinho's arrival and Dean didn't necessarily mean Villa pushed up into the top half, it still gave us lift? Do you think?
Yeah, momentum shifted straight away. The calibre of play and the signing, how quickly that happened as well.
Yeah.
It's a very opportunity to get Luca Dini when they did. Had a fallout with Benitez. I think Villa signed him, then Benitez was sacked a week later, and that wouldn't have happened had Benitez stayed in the job. So Villa acted very quickly, decisively. Coutinho as well, that didn't hang on too long. I think they had a Zoom chat. Within a week, he's in a Villa shirt and very, very quick and swift, and more of the same this summer already. Kamara in the bag.
It's all happening.
The day after the final game of the season, and I think Gerrard wants them all in for the start of pre-season. Touch wood. So yeah. I mean, the Paul Pat's mentioned about Gerrard. I mean, and I don't know what he whispers to him or speaks to him about, but they're all in straight away, aren't they?
Yeah,
So.
that was my next question. What is he selling to these players? What is he saying the ambitions are?
Does Gerrard need to sell his ambitions, really? You know, we all know why he's here. He's here because he's been a very successful athlete throughout his career and can't wean himself off that kind of that thrill of winning. Basically, I mean, Villa will give him a good chance to go cold turkey on that for a few weeks. But
Get withdrawals.
I just think
it's good having the laughter track, isn't it? When you
say
tell
again.
it, it's good having the laughter track when you tell it.
It's like on TV, isn't it?
Like Ash says, he's a man whose reputation precedes him. He's got an aura, and we know that. Imagine what he's like when Villa lose a game. He's not used to losing games, and anybody who signs for him knows that they're going to get a good coach who can make them technically better, but also going to learn good habits from him as well. So, plus the fact, let's not pretend Villa are now in a market where they are spending top dollar to attract people, and if they're being shrewd about getting free transfers like we said and then reinvesting that in the wages, that's a very good tactic for me, providing you're looking at the right players.
Yeah.
But I think the package at the moment, Aston Villa sells out every single week. You've got owners who are properly invested in terms of emotionally and financially, and you've got a manager there who doesn't accept anything less than the absolute best because he's never known anything less than the absolute best. So, you know, I'd want to sign with you.
Yeah, well, there was the quote from Jacob Ramsey in the Players Tribune yesterday or the day before saying, you know, he met with Gerrard in the training ground and said, I know you've done well, Jacob, but I'm going to take you to the next level. Yeah. And I was like, can you imagine what that must be like as a 20-year-old kid to go,
I want to Pat's chat up lines,
even when you were saying, Ash, about like the November press conference, how you kind of that mentality of we're all in this together. I remember saying when he joined about like you kind of feel like I'd run through walls for this guy as a fan, never mind it in the dressing room.
It's like on TalkSport the other day, they were Eric Ten Hag's opening press conference, they were listening to it. I think it was Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy. They were saying how he's not gripping you, and he's not like, you know, you don't want to run through walls for him. But when Gerrard came in, I think everyone was like, okay, he means business here, and his intentions are clear. But yeah, man, I'd say he's got that in abundance, hasn't he? So I imagine the players are feeling that as well.
Yeah, in one of the early press conferences as well, I think I stepped out along with the headline. I think the owners were in town. I said, anyway, it's in my copy. Gerrard's going to speak with the owner, so I ramped up a little bit too much. In the press conference, he said, right, lads, just be on my side. I'll give you what you want. Just don't overhype stuff. I'll give you what you want. You give me what you want. We all work together for this one. So that sums it up as well. To be fair, he did quite well with that as well. So I imagine the same with the players. And he's building a project here, and he's got big ambitions. So
they're loving it.
Matt, at what point did you kind of accept that the season was going to dwindle out to 12th, 13th, 14th place?
Probably opening day. Don't know. You never quite accept it, do you? But it's the bandwidth Villa are in. You know what? 14th and 8th. There ain't that much in there. So if we'd have beaten Crystal Palace at home and we'd have beaten Burnley at home, all of a sudden that puts a slightly different kind of spin on things. To me, probably from the day that Jack Grealish left, although we were super excited by the arrivals of Bailey, Buendia and Ings in the Holy Trinity in Christian Perslow's speech, I still thought it was going to be a big ask to replicate what we'd lost from losing Grealish. So I would have taken probably exactly the same spot minus 6 or 7 points.
Yeah.
We're probably in that space minus 10 points where we in the end.
Yeah.
What we finishing in 45?
Yeah, 10.
45. So I don't think that's a massive surprise.
Well, it's not difficult to make up 10 points, is it? Watford at home, Wolves, we were winning.
Yeah.
Man City, I know it's Man City, but you're still winning 2-0 with 20 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And that's 9 points just off the top of my head. Palace
Yeah.
at home, Burnley at home. The only downside to that is there'll be a lot of clubs in the Premier League that will go, oh, if we'd have just done this, or we'd have just done this. It's, it's one of them,
The
isn't
thing
it?
is, last season, a few of the points we got were from games that were in the end of the season, and they were like teams not
Yeah.
playing for much. So
Yeah,
Chelsea,
that's true.
Spurs, and then what was the other one? Everton. There was Everton games we got a win and a draw. So that kind of makes up the 10 that was kind of the differential, and they were games that could have gone either way just because it was the end of the
It was
season.
this season as well. The one that's just gone. Record against the top sides, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Not a single point against
not
the top
a single
five.
point.
No.
Yeah.
And I think we said, or
That United side as well. Have we not got anything
Yeah.
against apart from the draw or whatever it was?
whoever did the post-match pod after Man City, like, that's 10 games a season. We've got no points. So I'm like, you're only getting all your points in 28 games. Like, you're already setting yourself up for a task if you're going to write off 10 games a season.
And it's annoying because I felt like we could have got something, Liverpool,
yeah.
City's, Carney's miss and all stuff like that. These are games.
Tottenham first half.
Spurs,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chelsea on Boxing Day, I felt like we started and Cash gave away that penalty, didn't
Yeah.
he?
So what we've worked out is we're actually not that far away.
No. Oh, everyone's hopeful again now.
Streaky is the word for us. That's what Gerard called us a lot of times. Inconsistent. 3-3 with Leeds, dominating the first half, but you don't see it out. Losing to Newcastle and Watford back-to-back 1-0, and then you go and win 3 in a row. Brighton, Southampton, Leeds, and we don't concede a single goal in those 3. Then you lose 4 in a row. It's madness, isn't it? I mean, it's a side that finishes mid-table, isn't it, pretty much? Win some, lose some, that's it.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Let's just touch on the end of the season quickly then, because it's the most recent thing. Let's not focus too much on it. It was nice to kind of be involved to an extent in the title race and the relegation race that we're playing against the sides at both sides of the table. Kind of at least kept it interesting for the podcast and stuff like that. That there was something going on. On Man City, though, we'll go to you, Matt, because you were there in the away end. Your first away game for however many years.
First away game since Bristol City away, singing "We'll Be There" or thereabouts at Steve Bruce. Not quite as drunk as I was that night.
Explain Man City to me then from the stands. Did you believe at 2-0, or were you the pessimistic that said...
Well, I went there kind of fairly open-minded, thinking we've got nothing on this game other than causing as much mischief and as much aggravation and stress to two fan bases. Two fan bases who, let's face it, have been pretty spoilt by success in the last couple of years. So it was just fun, to be honest. 75 minutes of pure fun, and I was sat in one of the higher tiers at the Etihad, 5 or 6 fans away from 5 or 6 Villa fans as the buffer between the angry Man City fans. It was just good fun because it looked like we were going to go and properly spoil the party. I still don't know, and I wasn't that drunk, but I still don't know how we were 2-0 up in that game, to be honest. Although having said that, we probably could have been 3 or 4-0 up if Watkins would have taken a couple of chances. But yeah, so it was just absolute kind of mischief making and sitting reveling in somebody else's stress. But they had their last laugh, didn't they?
Yeah.
I didn't even think, I was chatting to Ash before we got on air. When they scored the first goal, I still thought, okay, there's probably 12 minutes left.
I didn't feel like that. As soon as I scored the first, I thought, we'll lose.
The second one went in. You thought we're probably going to lose this 6-2. The first one, but I actually think that the second goal was the one. Our second goal was the one that did for us, because all of a sudden, from them playing quite patiently and methodical, they've realised they needed to force the issue quite quickly, and they could go through the gears like that, can't they?
From the press box, Ash, a few rewrites.
Nightmare. But yeah, it's just crazy what went unfolding. I can't believe how quickly the fans went on the pitch as well. It was so quickly. And obviously, we saw what happened there. But yeah, I thought Coutinho's goal was lovely, by the way.
Yeah.
Just the touch in the finish.
You know the secret of that?
What?
Ollie Watkins winning the header.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Imagine.
I know. But he took that goal well, and thinking, come on then. Liverpool were drawn at the time, wasn't they?
I think so.
So you're thinking, there's a lot of nervous tension in the ground as well. They had a few celebrating the Wolves goal early doors, everyone's got the radios on. So there's a lot of anticipation in there and a lot of nervous energy. But like you say, what Matt said, just Villa could sit there as a fan as well. Just have a bit of fun with it and go. I've seen that many blow up European Cups as well.
Yeah.
Well,
A few of them.
I showed my wife this video on Twitter of some of the away end. She insists that the angry Man City fans that are on this video have got them filters on that make them look like they're going to weep and cry. I was there, and I swear that's no filter. Honestly, it was. Oh God, I need to grow up really if I am glorifying somebody's misery. But
it's part of football, isn't it?
yeah, did you see the guy who was dressed up as a European? Cup?
Yeah, that was good.
That was
I don't know what he had it all, didn't he?
Yeah, that was good. That was
Good
a
effort.
bit of tinfoil or something. Yeah, decent. That's the season then. 14th place for Villa. We've got like end of season awards and stuff that we're going to do and questions as well. But to kind of kick that off before we get into the fan submitted ones, from each of you, how do you submit? How do you? How do you assess?
That went dark.
How do you assess Gerrard's tenure so far? Start with you, Pat.
I've enjoyed it. I think there was several issues that we had going into the season where I think you couldn't play Watkins and Ings together, and he solved that. Like, we can do that. We're probably the best. We play the best football when they are on the pitch together now.
Yeah.
How'd you get the best out of Buendia? I feel like he's done that, and now there's a problem how you get him and Coutinho, and I think he'll eventually solve that. And then how do Villa get back to being a solid defence like we were last season, getting 15 clean sheets, I think. And I think he's got 8 now, but there could have been a lot more. You look at the Crystal Palace game at Selhurst Park. You look at the Burnley game; they shouldn't have scored that penalty. That shouldn't have happened. Should Ashley Barnes have been on the pitch at that point? No.
Yeah.
There you go. That's another one. Just things like that. I think it could have been a lot better than. What did we finish on? 11 clean sheets for the season, or 12? I can't remember. That's still decent. I think he's slowly solving problems and slowly improving the squad. So I'm happy with it. I'm hopeful for the future. Yeah. So I'll give it. I'm rating it out of 10.
Out of 10, yeah.
6.5, pushing a 7.
Okay. Harder than I thought. Ash, you?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the table when Gerrard took over, I think Villa finished 9th. That's quite
Was it
recent.
9th then? It was 8th,
It was
wasn't it, at
8th,
one stage?
yeah. So 9th is pretty respectable. And you've probably taken that in a full season, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So the signs there, the shoots of progress I can see, and like Pat's summed that beautifully then. Sorting out the defence and working his way up. He wants a stronger spine to the team. And recruitment's massive this summer, and he's making waves already, so I'm really excited for next season.
Matt?
Given all the things he's solved under Pat, he'll be able to play himself in the same midfield as Lampard, the way he's going. Yeah, I mean, he's bought...
Oh, sorry, Ash, out of 10?
Out of 10, whole season,
For just Gerrard.
just Gerrard.
Because right at the season out of 10 comes later.
Just Gerrard, 7.
7, okay. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, he's delivered the little Brazilian fella, hasn't he, who I've fallen in love with. So that wouldn't have happened without Steven Gerrard being Aston Villa manager. I think, and I'm sure we'll discuss this lad a little bit more detail later, but I think the impact that he's had on Jacob Ramsey. I think Ramsey was already done a lot of the hard work, and Dean Smith is the guy who gave him his opportunity as well, but I think he's really, really kicked on. So that's a kind of tangible kind of improvement of a player, coaching of a player, support of a player that you can see.
Matty Cash as well, could you put him in the same bracket? So he got better under Gerrard, do you think?
I don't know.
I think he was one of the standouts for Dean Smith as well, wasn't he?
Really consistent. The fullbacks have both done well. Cash and Dean, they've been decent, haven't they?
I think the exciting thing for me is a full pre-season of working with the players he's got, because as much as we get excited about Aston Villa being a kind of checkbook recruitment, bringing big names in, he can't sign. I don't think he can. They can't sign 22 new players. So he's going to have to work closely, and his coach is going to have to work closely in getting a tune out of the players that he's got. So I think getting him stuck into them early in pre-season is exciting. I like the cut of his jib. I like the fact. I think I was saying to you on the way here, and this is probably something that Ash fears. I don't have to exist in that press conference environment anymore. But if you deliver him a question that he doesn't quite like, I think he can kind of just give you that kind of steely glare and put you in your place. And now I'm not on the receiving end of it. I quite like that. I quite like a manager who's kind of, there was a question I saw on social media, the head of the Liverpool game, thinking somebody said to him that, Stephen, people have Liverpool have got much more to play for you, and of course they have. Of course they had ahead of the Liverpool game, but he was like, "What makes you think that?" kind of thing. He just got really he was genuinely angry about it, but maybe mock angry about it. But it's this kind of integrity and this competitiveness all the time that I like that, and I think if he shows that with his public-facing side, I can't imagine he's that much different around the place as well, kind of very demanding high standards. So I'm just excited about where that can take us, really.
An out of 10?
2. No. I don't know. Very much jury's still out for me. I'll probably go 6.5.
6 months, yeah.
6.5. Is that fair?
I'd say that's about right. 6.5 to 7. Any higher than that is a bit.
I don't like the point fives on the player ratings. I think the bottling one there.
So 6 then? We're saying 6.
I think 6 is too low. That's why I went 6.5.
Yeah,
In the comments, how many decimal places should we go to with this rating?
I suppose if, like you said, if Villa finished 9th under Gerrard over the course of a full season, we'd be saying more than 6 probably.
Yeah.
But he didn't, so let's move on. Fan questions. We've got the random mug. If you want to pass it down to Matt, you can go first.
Am I the random mug?
Yeah, well, we're all going to have a go. In there is a subject. I've got the question. So let's see what the fans have submitted.
Halting season potential. What's that mean?
Halting season potential. This question is from Rob. He says,
Sorry, Rob. It's an excellent question.
He says, what were the key events in the year that stopped potential being realised? I'll put forward one. The protracted Grealish will he, won't he saga that delayed the inevitable and shredded our pre-season planning. Now, I wrote that down earlier and thought, I don't agree with the Grealish thing because I think the club knew that release course existed. Man City are interested. There's always that thought of he's going to go at some point. I understand him showing up for pre-season first day and stuff. For the fan base, kind of makes you think, he might stay, but I think the club know what's going on more so than we did. But is there anything else you can think of that stopped Villa, apart from sacking the manager, which is quite an obvious answer, that stopped it?
I do have one if we need to go into it. I'd say it's the Nakamba injury. I know he's not the be-all and end-all of the success of the team, but I felt like when you think about Gerrard's team in the first few months of him being there, it's that we were just really solid defensively. Maybe we weren't creating as much. So the Palace game and Brighton. And we could have got something at Liverpool, couldn't we? And then there was that penalty decision, which wasn't a penalty. And then Danny Ings, one got rejected. But it's that for me. I feel like we were lacking a defensive presence, someone that can fill in, help the defence. And obviously Dougie had to play there, and he's not really a 6, is he? He's an 8. He looks a lot better there. It's unfortunate, but that's probably the only one I can think of. The rest is just Villa.
Yeah, that's fair. Either of you two thought something in Pat's answer?
I don't know really. I just think it's no one particular incident, but it's just an inconsistent squad.
Yeah,
a set of players who were probably signed to consolidate in the Premier League, and they were expecting and demanding more of them.
Yeah. So,
you said the change of manager is an obvious one. It is an obvious one because they've suddenly got to learn to play for a new manager. The main thing for me is Aston Villa. It's what we do. We don't do things in a straightforward way. But what if this season would have reached its absolute potential with the manager that we started with and the players that we got? What would our ceiling have been anyway? Would it have been anything above 10th anyway?
No. Yeah, maybe not.
Success next season.
Success.
Easy one.
I mean, that's pretty much as it says, isn't it? But let me try and find the one from Steve. He says, "What would the panel? I like that. Be deemed as success or conversely failure next season?"
A success, obviously, European football, top 6. A failure, 14th again. I don't know if you judge like a bottom half finish as a failure. I think you would by the look of our recruitment, to be honest. I think he's going after centre backs now, isn't he? Top quality ones. I think Diego Carlos came out. That rumour came out this morning. Newcastle offer him. Botman's been linked. Lacroix, people like that. These are top class defenders, and they're not exactly people that are. Apart from Lacroix, is like 22, I think. They're people that are going to come in now and contribute. They're not going to do anything else. They're not going to develop here. So yeah, I think it's time to push on, and it is like a win now situation. I think bottom half probably would be deemed a failure next season, to be honest.
I said it the exact same last year. I'll probably say it again next year as well. Pushing as far the top 6 European places, get as close to them as possible, and go deep in the cups, possibly win one.
Yeah,
that'd be for me success.
I think we just need to probably write off the season that's just gone. How do we beat the season before? Yeah, and it's the obvious, isn't it? Just win a cup. I'm so fed up of it. It's been so long. And what are we now? 96? What's that now? 26? We're into the 27th year since then.
Yeah, scary.
I've got a fringe then, Ash.
No.
I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, how you guys, I don't want to brag about how old I am, how you guys keep coming back for more of this.
I've seen the Peace Cup.
Having seen, well, fair enough, that is a trophy.
Elite, wasn't it? Yeah.
But
And that one that John Terry held, that big
Oh yeah,
pre-season
you can
one.
buy that in Sports Direct, can't you? That thing.
What points tally do you think? Because it's all very well same positions, but as we've seen this year, that can vary quite a lot about what a certain amount of points gets you. What do you think? 60 points is something that should be a barometer that we aim for, or?
I think they'll be doing that behind the scenes as well. Probably a month by month basis, they'll have a points tally to try and hit.
Yeah.
But next season, I just want them to beat it through the big boys more than they have done.
Yeah.
It's been wretched record. The season's just gone, so have a few big nights at Villa Park beating the so-called big teams, and that'll be a big plus for me. And you get that belief in, don't you? You can roll into the next one.
Go on, Pat, you go.
Right. Change one result. I know this one off the top.
I like
Yeah,
this
big
question.
shout.
Yeah, I mean, who asked that? I should have organised this better, shouldn't I, really? Yeah, Dave from the States, he put in brackets. If you could change one match result from this season, which would it be? And I'm going to jump in early and nick your answer from earlier.
I know which
Wolves.
one. Oh no, it's not. That's not my answer.
Okay. I think if you don't fall apart against Wolves, you don't go on such a bad losing streak. And
Then you don't get Gerrard.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Then you
But
don't
like-
get Coutinho or any of these players.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Got Matt Targets at left back.
Yeah, I'll change my answer. Yeah, it's a stupid hypothetical question, isn't it? But if there's one moment maybe you would change, is there anything that jumps out?
My one would be Carney Chukwuemeka just buries that one against City and they don't win the league.
Old-fashioned me, I'd probably stay in the FA Cup and
Yeah.
see where that takes us. You know,
Yeah,
get
good
that
shout.
result at Old Trafford, and we'd have probably lost to Middlesbrough in the next round.
Middlesbrough play Forest after that? Or am I-
Tottenham, they beat Tottenham, didn't they?
The cup exits were my fault. I went to 2 away games this year and it was
Do
Chelsea.
you take your girlfriend with you?
No.
That's your mistake.
There we go, I'll
It's her
take
fault,
her
if
next
anything.
time.
Yeah,
But I went
yeah.
to Chelsea, lost on pens, and I went to the United game and we lost that. So it is my fault and I won't be going next year. So yeah,
Okay, so we'll win it next year.
exactly.
Okay.
I'll take one for the team.
What about those years before Pat was born and we didn't win it? Who are we blaming for that?
Was it
mate?
96, the last trophy? I was 98, so it weren't all my fault.
What about your girlfriend? What was she born?
Yeah, 99.
Yeah.
1953.
Maybe she was watching the Peace Cup final.
Go on, Ash, pick another if you can't think of a result.
Villa identity,
Oh.
Remember the Villa engine?
Villa engine as well.
So there's two questions here from Connor and Pat Rowe, and they're long, so I'm going to combine them together. Parole first. Lots to change at Villa, especially behind the scenes. Given Smith, Grealish and now Delaney have left the under-23s, and with changes to come, do we risk losing our identity and becoming a mini Liverpool? Which I don't quite agree with. Perslow speaks a lot about having an identity and a link to the club. How do we best foster that going forward? And Connor says, will we lose something in this new Gerrard era? Project Villa, in quotes, is where we buy younger players looking for gems, a Brentford approach with more money, and then to go sell players on. Since we lost Jack and Dean, I feel good Villa is gone, and I fear Gerrard might go for more of the tried and tested, which started with Ings, and suddenly we're just like everyone else, throwing money around. Is that just modern day football though?
I think so. I'm a bit. I take the point because I do feel there's a little bit of an element of what we tried to do under Steve Bruce in the Championship of you kind of proven Premier League players. I know we're obviously in a different market now, but you like Balassi and you brought in Abraham and Jedinak and Wheel and that. But it kind of worked. It didn't work under Bruce, but it worked under Gerrard. And I think I do love this idea of doing it in a kind of pure way and getting all your teams through the age groups playing the same way and building those progression paths. But I think at the moment we're a club in such a hurry and we're in danger. We've not beaten the top four. Are we right saying we'd not beaten any of the top four?
Top
So
five.
we've not beaten
Lost
any of the top five this season.
Not even a point against.
So we're in danger of them disappearing over the horizon.
Yeah.
So if we've got the wherewithal to attract these top players, although there's a hush of silence, they'll listen to me. If we've got the wherewithal to attract those players and to afford those players, and let's hope we do it without kind of putting ourselves on the brink of extinction like under the previous regime. What can we do? Just embrace it. We're not going to say, no, that guy who's rated as one of the best young midfielders in the world, who's got most of the big elite clubs sniffing around him. We don't want him because we want to promote an 11-year-old who's just signed from Great Bar Falcons. I'd love him. I'd love them both. Well, I suppose we've got one, haven't we? We've got Jacob Ramsey in there as well. So they don't need to be mutually exclusive. I do get it, but I just think we're probably just going to have to, like I say, as long as it doesn't end up in ruin, just gonna have to embrace it and go with it. It's not the worst, not the worst scenario, is it?
Yeah. Anything else?
I think the thing that brings me back to it, I see the point where you're saying, we're just going to, it's like the Suarez signing, isn't it? If it happens, or the rumours or whatever, it's like you're kind of moving away from developing Watkins or Archer coming in. But for me, what brings it back is like the young players we've got coming through. So like, I feel like the season started dipping, everyone started getting a bit of stick on Twitter, whatever you post or whatever. And then Tim Irabunum gets a debut, and the fan base is a bit lifted again. And it's stuff like that. Jacob Ramsey, I think that type of thing brings it back. If you know what I mean, like a bit of magic in the club, a bit like it's one of us type thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like there'll be a mixture of we're pushing, we're signing these really good players. And it was a welcome sign to see one arrive that was a 22-year-old and not a 29-year-old. I would have been a bit worried if he was a 29-year-old or something. But I think that type of homegrown talent we've got coming through is a welcome sign. It will ground us kind of thing.
It's almost a bit of a cliche, isn't it? The West Ham way, the Man United way. I mean, does that mean anything really?
You don't always get the Gerard Bowen, do you? When you sign from the Championship.
The Villa way, the Villa engine, Project Villa, whatever you want to put. Just win some games.
That's all it is, yeah.
I don't care about anything else.
Tried lots of different ways in the last, probably the last 26 years since we've won a trophy, and it's not been good enough to win a trophy.
Yeah.
So, if signing lots and lots of really good players
helps win a trophy,
that seems to me like I'm not writing the checks. That seems to me like as good a strategy as bringing Grant Holt in on loan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So let's just go with it and hope that the people above know what they're doing.
Well, yeah, that's the key thing. If they've got the financial aspects of it right and they know what they're doing, as fans we kind of just have to go, let's just enjoy the ride then and hope that they do.
When Grant Holt scored in front of the Holt though and gave it to Jack Grealish, that was a great moment. We get more of them involved.
Did he score for us? Is that right?
I think he scored. I
He
remember
scored
being
in front of the
him.
Holt, definitely.
Yeah, and he went like that. He gave it
that pun into an intro back there.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Go on then, pick another question. It's probably 6 or 7
I'm
left.
going to just pick one out of Ash's cup of tea then. Read the tea leaves.
The atmosphere.
Oh, the atmosphere.
Difficult one, that.
From Mike, he says, I'm sure you'll cover everything in terms of the team, Gerrard, the youth team, transfers, etc. But for me, the question I have is about the crowd. What can we do to make Villa Park the cauldron of noise that we know it can and should be?
How do you start that?
Clappers.
Clappers.
So I moan about the atmosphere. Regular listeners will know I moan about the atmosphere every week or every other week at Villa Park. What am I doing? What am I doing to change it? Do you know what I mean?
It's me having you.
But how do I do it? Without making my son cringe more than he does sitting next to me.
The players have got to win games, haven't they, and score goals. If you're playing at home and you're 2-0 down after 10 minutes, it's not on the fans to suddenly go, come on lads, let's all stick together. You've got to kind of deliver on the pitch as well.
I think it's about variety. Did we touch on this the other day when we spoke? I don't know. I spoke to somebody about this. Might have been my mate on the train the other day. But why do all of our chants have to be so convoluted? I do like the ones that are, I like the Coutinho one, I like the Buendia one. But unless you're kind of social media savvy, you probably don't know the words to it, and it probably doesn't get going quite enough. What's up with the old? I mean, it's a bit dirge like now I say, but the old kind of Villa. Just come on, Villa.
That comes out every so often, but it's usually when we're winning.
Why aren't we doing that? Just kind of basic, very simple kind of low syllable chants that we just almost have this songbook that we have these 10 chants that we go to every single day, every single game. And just so everybody in the ground knows it. I mean, I did actually see whether it was the Burnley game or the Palace game. The North Stand were trying to get a little bit going in the last couple of games, but it's like that. Is it like kind of a cappella or something when somebody the whole 10 start, and then by the time it catches the Trinity, you're like singing it on a loop, and we're like doing the bit as they're finishing. Villa Park, when it's all sings in unison, everybody's on the scanning the lyrics at the same time. Like the Villa Till I Die is the example, isn't it? Against Man
City.
Funnily enough, against Man City and Jack Grealish. Villa Till I Die. 5-syllable chants. That's all you need. Just keep it simple.
So there's a limit there, isn't there? You run out after a couple.
Well, run out after a couple. Alay has been the only. Alay. Now 6 syllables is too long. I think if the Trinity, the North Stand, and the Whitton could get things going, I think it would help. But we're always relying on the people at the back of the whole end to start it. And I just think it's a lot of pressure on them.
Get these like
I was going to say, get these 10 people over here in. We'll be absolutely fine.
Get it bouncing.
Go on then, Pat, you pick another question out. It's difficult, isn't it, the atmosphere? It's a bit of both. Fans need to be in for it, players need to perform. It's it's one of them.
Youth team pathway.
Youth team pathway, right in front of me. This is from Ollie, it's quite a long one. How do you see the future directions for the young talent in our squad? We've been here before when we were expecting big things from a whole host of names, from the Moore brothers to Callum O'Hare, and history has shown that if the side is winning, the youngsters get the occasional substitute appearance, and if the side is losing, managers talk about it being the wrong time to throw them in. How do you think we will have a realistic chance of breaking through the next generation of Villa Academy players?
Yeah, good chance. I mean, Gerrard put Tim Burnham in for his game against Norwich. Jacob Ramsey this season, he's still only 20, still a puppy. He's come on leaps and bounds, as we know. There's loads of young lads in and around the training, the first team level at present, and Gerrard said if you're good enough and if you out-train your senior peers, you're going to get played. So I think in terms of, if you're a young lad at the Villa now in the academy, 17, 18, I think he'd be pleased Gerrard's at the helm. I believe that Gerrard's been around that system. He was an academy player once, so he just wants people to be obsessed with being better than out-training your teammate, as it were, who's in ahead of you. So I think that the young lads who are there, Tim will have a big season next season. Ben Christen's another one he likes. Tommy O'Reilly, these players, that's the next generation. And a lot of them will be kept around. Cameron Archer will probably come back. Decisions were made on him. But yeah, I think the future's bright. I think Gerrard's a manager to play them. Dean Smith before, I think he was a bit reluctant to play one or two. I remember Louis Barry being in fine form the 1 year. Didn't really have a look at him. Probably a bit too soon, but yeah, I think Gerrard's the man to push that, and he's been asked about that on a lot of occasions, and he said, if you're good enough, you'll play, simple as.
The only problem they're facing now for me is the recruitment, to be honest. I'd be happy going into next season with 3 strikers, Ings, Watkins and Archer, just Archer being the one off the bench who can give you 20 minutes if you need him, and then obviously if you played 2 or whatever. Irabunum, I'd like him to go on loan in the Championship, and the same well calculated moves that Kessler Hayden's had this year. It's really they're good for their development, isn't it? I'd like Kessler Hayden to be the backup right back. I think we'll probably sell Gilbert unless he has a look at him and he likes him. I don't know if he likes him or whatnot. I always liked Gilbert, to be fair, when Dean Smith used to play. I thought he was decent. But yeah, I'd just say the recruitment, Irabunum, you got Nakamba, Kamara. If we bring in another CDM or a player that can play there, Louise is there. Just a lot to contend with to get into the starting lineup, isn't it? So if they want regular game time and development, then I'd like loan moves again. But otherwise, you can just stage a breakthrough.
Yeah, ready for next one?
Yeah, last couple of questions, Matt. Take it away.
Midfield makeup. Let's
say we buy 2 new midfielders this summer. I mean, we've already bought one, a proper 6 and a box-to-box 8. Both go into the starting 11, so let's just assume one is Kamara and maybe one other. Which other current Villa midfielder makes up your 3-man midfield? This is from John. So you've got Ramsey, Louise, McGinn, Nakamba, Irabunum, Sanson, Ashley Young. Who plays in midfield?
I don't know if Louise is going to be here at the start of next season. I think
looking that way, is it?
Yeah, I read this morning, I had to write something on it. It was Mourinho's going to step it up after the conference final tonight against Feyenoord. So whether that develops or we try and cash in because the contract is not. I don't know if that's progressed any further. It's so hard. I love McGinn so much. I was saying the other day when I went at Burnley, I was like, "Oh, McGinn's on it today. I love it when McGinn's like this." But it's because he was in the final third, and I think if you put Kamara there, you've got a CDM, and you've got McGinn playing like he actually does, like his championship McGinn, isn't it? Then I don't think you can drop a Jacob Ramsey who's continued to progress really. So it's going to be a tough one. I'd be happy going into the season with McGinn and Ramsey either side of just Kamara, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Yves Bissouma is the other link, but
Calvin Phillips,
do you play him as an 8? I know Southgate likes him a bit further forward, but I think for Leeds he's just like a CDM. I don't know if he's. I think his best position is a CDM, to be fair. But yeah, you could probably edit this out if it does happen. But there's an elephant in the room with Bissouma, isn't there? So I don't know if we sign him with all that stuff. But
how did you rate McGinn's season last season?
McGinn this season, one just gone. I thought he was. I feel like he's. I've said it before. I tweeted. I got a load of stick for it. It's one of those. I thought just because he's one of the senior members of the squad, that he just gets a bit more stick if something goes wrong. It's the same with Mings. I thought with Mings, there's a genuine argument to make that he's probably our 3rd most consistent player this season. but he gets pelters. Like I didn't think the mistake, like the mistake against Liverpool where he tried to clear it's gone under his studs. I was like, that's not a mistake, it's just unlucky. Like it's fell perfectly to Joel Matip or whatever it was. I feel like they're just two players on our side that just get pelters for no reason. Like it just goes to them. It's like the scapegoat. I'd give him a 7. I thought he was solid. I thought there's games where he's had to fill in at CDM for no reason. He's been restricted. Midfield has obviously been the main issue. But yeah, I thought he's been quality. Not quality, actually, take that out. I thought he's been decent. Not his best, but not the worst player on our team, certainly.
Do you want to take on McGinn and Mings? Did I get unfair criticism for you?
Just scroll back for them. My thought on the Mings one, I think I'll say that every other week, don't I? That I think he's scapegoated. I mean, Villa have had a tradition of scapegoating various players along the way. McGinn's an interesting one. The question about, if we do sign a 6 and an 8, who's the third midfielder? I actually think McGinn and Ramsey competing for that third spot is quite an exciting prospect, really. And seeing what they can both do, in more advanced areas. I don't know with McGinn. I really don't. Because I think he varies. I don't think you can give him the same. You have to give ratings every week.
Yeah.
I think you could split the game into quarters and give him a different rating for each quarter. He'll do something brilliant, and then. But again, that's what comes with playing in the Premier League, playing for an expectant fan base. We've seen he's set his standards. We know what he can do. So it's how consistently can he do it? And like I said, if Ramsey and McGinn next season aren't automatic starters and have to lift the level because of any new recruits we make, then so be it. I like him as a fellow. I like what he stands for. I like the route that he's taken into getting to Aston Villa. But again, we can't sound like I'm kind of, I don't know, a modern day fan with no patience now, but I'm not sure how much sentiment we can carry going forward. And we've seen that the two people we invested our hearts in Dean Smith and Jack Grealish are no longer here. So, it sounds horrible because I'd love heroes to be competing for testimonials and to hang around long enough. Well, maybe you want more than 7 goals a season. But who am I to criticise Mr. Ogbonlahor? But what was the question?
Put you off there, didn't I?
I think if McGinn plays well, Villa tend to play well, so he kind of drives the team in that aspect. But I don't know whether he plays the vast majority of games next season.
Can't be doing much wrong if Conte and United are after him, can he? That's another thing. Why are people taking notice?
Gerrard likes him as well, doesn't he?
I think his leadership qualities bring probably elevate him, because we can sign the kind of cast of some of the best players in the world, or whatever market we shopping in, but still need personality. I think Mings and McGinn bring personality even when they're not playing well. They never go hiding. So I think that those characteristics are something that we need to make sure that we replenish in terms of our recruitment as well.
He's a big captain shout next season, McGinn. Yeah. So he's obviously Gerrard's going to review the captaincy. McGinn's obviously up there with Mings as well, and maybe another one's coming. Story this season as well. Someone told me the coach drivers at the Villa, they're all in shirts and ties under Dean Smith, and McGinn's got him in. McGinn's got more Villa tracksuits now. Apparently they're all buzzing because McGinn's like, give the lads a Villa tracksuit for the game days, and they'll come after to the part of the team, and that's McGinn's all there. So I got told about that last week. So McGinn behind the scenes he's very big to the group, and I think Gerrard likes personalities with it. So he's a shout for captain next season. Should Gerrard review it?
Those coach drivers probably have got big fat arses, don't they, from sitting on all day. So McGinn's hand-me-downs are fit and perfect, wasn't
I think there's a case with fans in general where you kind of go, player's not performing, I'll just get rid, cash in, get some money, move on, and let's just forget about it. And I think we've said to one of you, I've said about, Mings and McGinn might not play every game, but you don't cast them off to a Newcastle or someone who's competing with us next year, or will expect to be competing with us. You keep them around, and they've still got value to add to whoever comes in to replace them. And if the replacement isn't quite up to speed, you've still got a ready-made replacement who, they might not be top 6 level, but know the club and can kind of slot back in there.
Yeah, I think Watkins is another one as well, isn't he? Obviously, big interest from West Ham. A few Villa fans said, cash in, sell him, we'll move on. Does frustrate a few people with the missed chances, obviously, but top scorer again this season, double figures again. I think Gerrard spoke about his importance, going nowhere, he told me the other week. But he's another one who divides opinion, doesn't he? People want to see more of Ings.
Yeah.
maybe. But I think players blow hot and cold. They can do. But I think Watkins is, on the whole, I think he's a big part of Villa moving forward.
And all this is caveated by saying we finished 14th.
Yeah.
Villa blew hot and cold all season, so you kind of expect the players to do that to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Go on then, dish out another question. There's only a couple left.
Go on, Ash. After you.
Ex-player as a coach.
From Carl, he says, if you could bring any ex-player back to the club as part of the coaching staff, who and why?
I've got two.
Got two.
I bring Matty Lowton in to teach Matty Cash how to cross. I
Not had to tackle.
Yeah, not had to tackle. Yeah, he's fine defending. He's fine on that side. But I thought Lowton, Albrighton and Young probably the best crossers I've seen.
I mean, that probably says it all about your age. More
Yeah,
so than
exactly.
anything.
Notice the Benteke was a classic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his first time ones when he's running onto it.
Yeah,
I
dips
used to
and
love
deep
that.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice.
curving round. And then I'd bring Martin Larson in to teach the defenders how to win a header.
Yeah,
I
last
don't think I ever saw him lose one.
Probably a limited frame of reference because we spoke to a few of these and they are the greatest. Don't know where I'm waving that to or the cameras. But I like what Peter With was saying about the art of being a centre forward. And I think getting him stuck into Watkins, Danny Ings and whoever else we sign over the summer. That's all I've got at the moment. I think that'd be decent. I mean, whether Peter With's knees could take it on the training ground every day, I don't know, because I think he's 70 now. So mind you, I saw Roy Hodgson ping that pass on a viral video a few weeks ago. So why not? But yeah, I mean, it's sentiment again, isn't it? You know, we've said, we've lost our soul, we've lost our heart. Bring Martin Larson in. You know, it's done what as a coach or a manager, really. I think you probably bring those people in ambassador roles, don't you? Rather than.
There's not really a realistic answer here, is there? Because you kind of go Gareth Barry, but he's never coached.
I wasn't thinking of actual coaches. I don't know if Matty Loughton's done any badges or if Larson is in coaching. I just think someone that can head the ball, teach him out.
The realistic answer of a coach who's an ex-player is probably Mark Delaney, who's just left.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the end of that, isn't it? I think we've got one more question, is that right? One or two?
Dwight York.
Last one.
Dwight York. Get Dwight York.
The loanees, futures.
The loanees futures from Gareth. He says, who, if any, of the current loaned out players would you like to see play a part in next season? Or do you think they'll be moved on? El Ghazi, Gilbert, Target, etc. That's from Gareth.
I think
Keenan
it's time to
Davis,
sell them all. I think
Archer.
they're all on expiring deals in 2023, aren't they? I think if we're going to raise about 40 to 50 million, you just sell all those players.
There's a lot of talk about this figure of 40-50 million to
I
these players.
think-
I don't think
If
you're
Forest
anywhere
go
near
up, you can get 10 for Keenan Davis. I think there's no player that goes to the Premier League squad below 10 mil these days.
I reckon we get, from what I've heard from on social media from the Newcastle fans, I reckon we get 200 million from Matt Target because he's the best left back that's ever walked the earth.
Yeah, wait till next season.
To be honest,
He looks like he's coming back. Did you see what his girlfriend put on? It went around Twitter and it was like, oh, short and sweet, but now we're back.
He won't be at Newcastle, but he won't be at
I think
Villa.
it's Fulham that are after him.
Yeah, he'll end
But
up
he's been
somewhere
there
like
before, hasn't he? He got promoted against us, didn't he?
Just can't believe that Target being serenaded by 52,000 Geordies at Villa Park. He was
so I don't think half of Gerrard's starting lineup will get into Gerrard's starting lineup or bench.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Next season. So what chances are the people who we deem surplus requirement within one minute of looking at them?
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So that's not, well, it is a criticism, but it's not meant to be too harsh criticism because all of those players, you know, Target, I don't think he's the best left back we've ever seen, but still played a part in us consolidating staying in the Premier League and consolidating in the Premier League. We're all going to love El Ghazi forevermore for that really, really fantastic moment away at Barrow and scoring at Wembley against Derby, obviously. Who else? Gilbert.
Trezeguet as well.
Trezeguet, yeah. I forgot he even existed. You know what? I forgot about Wesley.
Wesley.
Playing in
Someone
Brazil.
said you could get 10 mil for Wesley. And
That's
I
what
was
I mean.
thinking,
You'll get like 500 grand for Wesley.
The only
like-
time I've ever missed Trezeguet since he's been gone is when Traore starts warming up. But yeah, you know, I'm being a little bit kind of facetious, but we've moved on. I think in
you'll
terms of where we want to be.
You'll get some decent money for Target, pretty much what we paid, hopefully.
might make a
Trezeguet-
profit on him.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Trezeguet, don't think you'll get anything. El Ghazi, he's played 12 minutes for Everton on loan. Who's going to come
That was
back to
a weird
Villa and go,
one.
oh, he's 5 million for El Ghazi? Like, some of the figures you see going around are way too high.
Yeah.
Davis, again, if Forest don't get promoted, you've got asking someone to take a chance on him. The only one who's out on loan that comes to my mind is Cameron Archer, and he'll stay.
Yeah.
So all this like, oh, we'll raise 50 million from the loanees. We're talking like 15, 20 million, I'd say.
Has that covered everybody? Is there anybody else who's
I think
gone?
there's more. It feels like
feels
there's more
there's a
to
few out
me.
on loan, but I can't. Jed Steer, did he go on loan?
He's done his ACL again.
But yeah.
Something like that. Or his
I think anyone
Achilles.
else, sure. Yeah. Should we do our end of season awards? I mean, I say awards. There's a couple in here that you definitely wouldn't want to get. Some of them are quite obvious. So if they are, and we all agree, we'll kind of skate on and move on as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Player of the season. I'll start with you, Dan, on the end map. Not you as player of the season. Your option.
Imagine how bad a year that would be. Like Villa Park's burnt down and there's only me and a team of cockroaches left in the wider Witten area. Jesus Christ. Jacob Ramsey for me.
Ramsey, okay.
Yeah. I did write it down in an email yesterday, Dan, so you shouldn't be so surprised.
I've forgotten about that now.
Yeah, just because he probably could have won another category as well, but just because he's come from nowhere to me to become first name on the team sheet with what we've got now.
Yeah.
Now, let's see what happens over the summer and how we evolve as a squad. But I just think at times where probably more at Villa Park, because that's where I do most of my Aston Villa watching, but at times where you've been crying out for somebody to change the tempo, to do something positive on the front foot, to really kind of kickstart the Villa performance. I think he's been the man. He's probably a more complete midfielder than we thought we got.
Yeah.
And I think working with Gerrard has kicked him onto an extra level and will continue to kick him onto an extra level. From the bits I read and see from him as well, he seems like a very humble, kind of down-to-earth lad who realises the privilege that he's got and realises that the talent and the opportunity can take him as far as he wants to go. So he'd be my shout.
Yeah, fair. Ash?
Yeah, I got Matty Cash, probably an obvious one. I think he's been the most consistent player in the team this season. I got into the Polish national team as well, and end products he's adding to his game now. 4 goals as well, 4 goals, 3 assists, pretty decent. Capped off his season with the goal at the Etihad. Mat Kendrick going wild in the upper tier.
Good celebration pictures, some Cash as well. The knee slide.
that was good.
Very good. But overall, I think he'll look to kick on next season. Gerrard loves him as well.
Yeah.
Raves about him at the pressers. A good season for Cash, I'll give it him.
What do you think would be a good target in terms of goals and assists for Cash next year if he's done 7 goal contributions this year?
10 double figures would be decent.
Yeah. Player of the
I'll
year?
give it Cash as well. I think I said before on the podcast, there was only one player when we were going through that dip in form under Smith. There was only one player that was kind of had his head still up, driving forward, trying to start something. It was Cash for me. And he's adding the attacking aspect. I feel like when Gerrard first came in, there was rumours to other right backs. I can't remember his name. I think he's gone to Munich now. But some people, there was the debate like, has he got the end product? He's not going to be able to do it. Gerrard's not going to like him. Sign the new contract. I feel like in the second half of the season, under Gerrard or whatever, he's kind of proved everyone wrong. I know he still can't. He can cross because that Archer goal against Chelsea, that was a lovely cross. He's got the cut back, but I feel like teams are reading that. I said it the other night when we were watching Burnley. I've never seen a fullback get his cross blocked so much as him. It's because they know he just wants to cut it back. So if he can work on his crossing, he's the perfect fullback for me. But Cash for me.
Yeah, we've also Cash for player of the season because I assume young player.
I'm not having that,
Why?
5 minutes ago, he's saying he needs to be coached by Burnley's reserve team right back.
The last thing you need. The first thing I want from a defender is to be able to defend. So he's got that.
But we've put Jacob Ramsey as young player, I assume.
Yeah.
So who did you put for young player then?
Cash. I think didn't I put Cameron Archer?
Yes, you did, yeah.
So I was just going a bit left field.
Yeah.
Didn't say he'd actually got to be at Villa at the
No,
moment.
it's true.
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
So,
Cameron Archer for young player of the season
Yeah.
for you. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, had a good season. Goal of the season. Now, Ings at Newcastle got it in the official Villa Club's goal of the season. Do we all agree?
I do not agree.
Don't agree.
No. I feel like I expect things. Not expected, but
I mean,
I can
with that.
I can see him doing it. Like it's a great goal, and you can't take it away from him. But I expect
He's a striker.
He's a
He scores
striker.
goals,
He's a good finisher. He can do that. Callum Chambers on the first time whipping one into the corner.
Yeah.
But then I kind of believe it after the pass against Southampton. He's hiding something. But yeah, I'd give it to Callum Chambers just because of the shock factor, the technique, and everything for it. Yeah.
I give it Ramsey at Norwich, didn't I?
Yes, you did, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, a good shout.
I watched it again yesterday, and he starts to move deep in his own half. He starts to move, runs and runs and runs, finishes left foot.
Yeah, left foot as well.
Poor defending from Norwich, I guess.
Cheers,
Yeah,
Dean.
just I was at the press box that night, and that was the moment when got a player here.
Yeah.
To do that in the Premier League, 20. I was a bit gutted I never asked Dean about it afterwards, but I think it might have been it's seething with losing. So I obviously didn't give his big chance, and Ramsey shining that night. And I'll give it, I looked it back at it yesterday, and it's such a great goal. Driving forward, he's done that time and time again this season. And to finish the way he did, very good goal. Understated goal that hasn't been spoken about enough this season. So another shout as well. McGinn at Watford's a decent goal as well. Look at that. First time finish on the banks, that was very nice. But yeah, Ramsey got more vote at Norwich.
For the audio listeners, Matt, you were clapping as Pat said, Callum Chambers at Leeds.
Yeah, I'm with it as well. I'm a big fan of centre halves who can fluke one like that and then style it out as if they meant it. So no, it was a quality finish, and it probably just shows that extra kind of panache that I know. Pat's a
Panache.
big panache. Yeah.
Is it not pizzazz?
What?
Pizzazz?
It's panache.
Is it panache? Okay.
Or is that some kind of like kind of pastry that you get?
It's an Indian in some coffee as well. Panache.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's where goal of the season should be awarded there. Panache.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just so. I don't know. You said he did that sweet kind of outside of them, so it wasn't unexpected, but it still was unexpected for me that you've got a centre half who can do that.
The one I said just as a rogue shout is the one that was the pass for Chambers. Was it Louise who actually put it in the back of the net?
Yeah, wasn't it Coutinho that squared it to him?
Yeah, Chambers on the outside foot, Coutinho across the box. Just a nice little move.
Yeah.
A few players involved, just as a different answer. Most improved player throughout the course of the season, not necessarily under Gerrard.
I think I put Buendia.
Yeah, I think you did.
I think I've spoken about this recently, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but you could see his frustration with himself earlier in the season. Kicking bottles and having little tantrums on the sidelines, and I don't think that was a statement towards Smith. I think that was a statement towards I'm better than this. I can do more than this.
Yeah.
And I actually think I don't know who Villa's sports psychologist is, or whether it's Gerrard and his coaches have got into him, but I actually see a player who is probably more comfortable with his own skin now. He realises that he can do it, but he's at a big club now, so he's going to have to kind of just cope with the disappointments as well as the times when he's the main man.
I was going to say, is there an element of that he isn't the main man, whereas at Norwich it's kind of Buendia, go and do your thing, you've got to win us the game, whereas at Villa it's not that.
I think so, but that's probably where he sits a little bit differently from Bailey for me, whereas I think Bailey he still wants to be this kind of star of the show. I think Buendia's realised that being a very, very highly performing kind of part of a machine is going to help him and help the team kick on more than needing to be the main man all the time. And I think we've seen it. I think we've seen that for a flair player. I think he just puts in so much graft and so much effort, and sometimes sacrifices himself for the team. I'm not saying it's a good sign of what he did, but I'm not sure how many sparkling number 10s we'd have even seen back making the tackle in a penalty box against Burnley, let alone giving away a penalty. So I just think he's been. Sounds like I'm talking about an X Factor backstory, but I feel like he's been on a journey during the course of the season.
So I put some sad music.
That's it. If you could do a little montage of him kicking bottles and then celebrating goals and assists. But, so that's my vote, I think.
Ash?
Did I go Jacob Ramsey today?
I can't remember.
I think I went Jacob Ramsey. Just based on what I've seen last season into this one, gone up a new level or two for me.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the rise he's went on. And ever present, like you say, first name on the team sheet for Gerrard, near enough. Gerrard said he's better than him when he was 20. I think he's really kicked on. Yeah. So most improved for him is Jacob Ramsey for me for sure.
If I can find the clip, I'll put it in, but I remember saying in the early season or pre-season, Ramsey won't play 35, 38 games. He'll be in and out, and that'll be it. And fair enough.
When he's not in the team, I think we're missing him. The energy.
I didn't expect him to be so good, and he's definitely got levels to go as well.
Yeah.
Pat?
Yeah, on the same as Ash. Ramsey, I think you've gone from a player that could come on and do like maybe contribute a bit, or you give a chance to, and he was swapping with Barkley, I think, last season, wasn't he? And I think swapping him to a centre mid rather than a more attacking one is a bit better for him, but he's gone from a bit part player to probably one of the first names on the team sheet. I don't think any of us thought he's going to be a Premier League player, like a solid Premier League player at this age, but he is. Sky's the limit, isn't it?
And also survives you expect the summer recruitment that it's McGinn or Louise or Nakamba that misses out. Ramsey still gets in when the new signings come as well. That's how important he is. Unsung hero. I'll start with you at this time, Pat.
My unsung
Can't remember
hero.
who you put when you texted me.
I don't remember what I put for this.
Go on, Ash, you go while you...
I'll have a
Callum
check.
Chambers, I think.
Okay.
I think Callum Chambers, the way he slotted in, I think he's done really well. I think he came in out the blue, didn't he? I was down Perry Bar playing 5-a-side, my phone went off. Villa signed Callum Chambers. Didn't see that one coming. But he's come in, slotted in seamlessly for me. Obviously, Conte's form's dipped off a little bit, but whenever we've called upon Chambers to come in, he's done such a sound job. And yeah, typified at the Etihad on Sunday. I thought he was Villa's best player. And yeah, I think very shrewd signing. Bit of an unsung hero. Might be a big hero next season going into it. And yeah, I think that deal's not spoken about enough really. We've got Coutinho, Luca Dean, great signings, big name signings. But Callum Chambers to come in and the job he's done, and technically as well. He spoke about the goal against Southampton, was it?
Yeah.
Just to pick out a pass like that, not many centre backs can do that. So yeah, Callum Chambers, a pretty understated signing.
Not many players would do that, never mind, in the second
No.
half. I think, again, we said when he signed, he's Twanzabe's replacement.
Yeah.
We'll barely see him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, unsung hero, good choice. Pat, you've done your
Mine was
research.
Mings. And like I said earlier, third most consistent for me. I feel like when things go wrong, people do look for him, but for me, he's been very consistent throughout the season. There's different parts you can look at, but I think I could do that with most players in the Villa squad and say, "Oh, I did that." I feel like it was like if Mings had given away the penalty against Burnley and Buendia didn't, everyone would be on his back a bit more than they were for Buendia.
Yeah.
So it's all just about the environment about each player, isn't it? But yeah, Mings, unsung hero for me. When we're solid, he's solid.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you put a rogue answer for this, if I remember right.
I think I put Mick Dale, but I sing his praises every year. So he's so unsung. You could have like his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and his name up in lights, and he's still been unsung hero. But we never spoke about him, did we? After the whatever game, was it the Burnley game?
I think it might have been Palace or Burnley. I can't remember if you were there. Like I said, he was doing something on half time.
Yeah, you got people on the
fans on it. You couldn't keep you up with
So like
Coutinho
he does it every week. The Pride Awards winner or whatever
Yeah.
it is. I kind of get photos on the pitch and all that.
Yeah.
McDowell always does it. And he sits a few rows in front of me. I spoke to him at that game just before kick off.
You've met Mick Dale.
Yeah, loads of times. Yeah, we're pals. He'll be watching this. He'll probably text me after this. Anyway, he took. Yeah, I'll send it to you after. Anyway, yeah, took these lads onto the pitch. 30, 40-year-old blokes or whatever. Won the competition. Photos in front of the whole end. Blah blah blah. And then the subs are doing two touch together, and Mick kind of just goes over, just barges his way through, and just goes, "Come on, like, yeah, it's all fine. I'm watching it. What's going on?" And these guys are doing two touch with Coutinho, which is like it's the last home game of the season or whatever. Like it's all a bit nothingness anyway. It's probably a health and safety nightmare that they're getting involved with two fans, but we'll let that slide. And they're like, this random fans like chesting it down, a couple of keepy ups, pinging it to Coutinho. He's back heeling it, chesting it, shoulder back to him, and I was like, what a moment that is for this fan to like play two touch with Coutinho on Villa Park at half time. And McDowell's just sort of filming it there all on his phone for this fan. I thought, yeah, what a hero, and that's why.
Well, there's Johan putting 150 grand a week contract in front of this big fat fan.
He wasn't fat, but
Sorry, this little thin fan.
But yeah, fair play, McDowell. Good, what a hero.
I think.
So not unsung at all now after that.
Well, no. Well, the thing is, I think everybody probably should know who Mick Dale is by now.
Yeah.
We're saying yes, we want our own homegrown players to come through and to be part of the squad and stuff like that. But I think it's important having people like Villa's probably got to become this commercial corporate machine to drive us into the top six and beyond. To me, yes, I understand the financial realities of that, but still having people, the Aston Villa heartbeat as part of it is really important.
Yeah, the receptionists and the tea
I'm
lady and all that
sure
kind of
there are
stuff.
genuine unsung McDales
Yeah.
within the ranks of Aston Villa, but to me he epitomises that the lifeblood of the club really.
Yeah. Did you all answer that one?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, good. Signing of the season. There's 4 to choose from in January. No, 3 to choose from.
Oh, I put
Chambers, Coutinho or Dean. In the summer, there's Buendia, Ings, Bailey, and is that it?
I'll put a rogue one. Am I allowed to say Gerrard is the signing of the season? Technically, we did
So we
sign
like.
him.
Yeah, so
Because I feel like he's led to all these other signings. Obviously not Bailey and whatnot, that's the other recruitment staff, but the future and who we bring in now, Kamara and whatnot, I think it is all down to Gerrard, and it's like a positive atmosphere around the club. He is changing things, he's solving problems, and there is progress being seen, so yeah, I'd go Gerrard.
when you say then, like, oh yeah, we signed Bailey and stuff before that, I don't think any of you are going to pick Bailey or Buendia or Ings anyway, so is it Coutinho for you two? Go on then, who wants to talk about him? I mean, technically made permanent during this season as well, so not just the loan
So
signing.
we can put him in next year's
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Blockbuster signing, wasn't it, really? Wouldn't have happened under the previous regime. with Smith, and totally bought into it. Sunday against Man City, final day of the season, that little bit of magic as well. I think his goals record's pretty decent as well. And obviously, he's like most of the players, he blew hot and cold a little bit. You haven't seen him in the games as well, but with pre-season behind him now, a really exciting proposition that to get him up to full speed. So I think he's played a bit. Obviously, it was a fast start for him, and then he wind up a little bit with his performances. But overall, technician, that star quality, and to get him in the door and play at Villa. That's what Barcelona's for Birmingham, one thing. But to get him here, he's pretty special and got to be signing of the season for me. Yeah.
And probably the flip side of that, biggest disappointment. This could be a player, it could be a game, maybe a moment.
Did I answer that?
Can't remember. Did you answer it? I definitely sent it to you, so. I'm pretty sure you answered it.
I've got mine now. Anyway.
You go. Come on, you go first.
I said it earlier tonight. It was Bailey. I feel like it was a big 30 million sign. He was part of Perslow's master plan after Grealish went. Everyone had big high hopes for him. Everyone was watching the highlight reels, weren't they? Blistering pace, bursting through Bayern Munich's defence, whipping him in with his left foot, and we just haven't really seen it. I think even his 2 assists. I think I said this the other day again. His 2 assists were him trying to cut in, miscontrolling it, and Ramsey just whipping it into the top corner. Or his 2 of his 3 assists, or whatever it was. He hasn't hit the ground running. And there are signings that take a while to settle in. Grealish will probably do it for City next year and take the league by storm. So hopefully Bailey does the same thing. But it's just been underwhelming so far for me.
Ash,
he's your conscious form for me. Right about him, I really like him a lot. I put him up there, probably got Van Dijk, Ruben Dias, he's elite centre backs in the league. I think he's one category below that.
Yeah.
I rate him that highly, and this season just doesn't happen for him. Obviously injured now for the next couple of months, but form-wise, his form's dipped off. It can happen. I hope he comes back stronger next season, but that was a real surprise and a big disappointment for me because I thought he was elite level.
Yeah.
I rate him that highly. Couldn't believe he's not in the England setup by now.
Yeah.
I thought he bailed Mings out time. Yeah. But I thought Conce's form has been a big disappointment. Yeah, didn't
the
see
red
that coming.
cards as well.
Red card, yeah.
Most in the league, I think.
Yeah.
Joint most with him.
Although Callum Chambers doesn't get unsung hero if I was a Conce player as well.
Exactly. So
works out both ways.
Next man up, isn't it?
You've got yours.
Home form.
Yeah.
Really, I think that probably setting our sights a bit too high. But if we're thinking Villa need to set the sights on 60 points next season,
that sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
Well, it does. Well, it's probably about 15, 16 wins and a fair share of draws. We win 5 games at home this season.
6 maybe.
Is that right? Who did we beat? Everton,
Newcastle,
Norwich, Southampton.
I genuinely can't remember the others.
Somebody and somebody.
Brighton. You mentioned
Brighton. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I mean, we didn't beat any of the top 5, I can tell you that, so it's one of the other 14.
Yeah. So we're probably going to have to win nearer to a dozen games at home next season, probably even more. Probably feeds back into what we were saying about the atmosphere earlier on. I think the Villa Park experience, given it was our first year back after craving to be in there. We beat Liverpool when we weren't there, beat Arsenal when we weren't there. We beat United or not? We didn't beat United, did we? No, United still did us with Bruno's penalties.
He stepped on Conde.
That was it, yeah. So it's that, and if I'm paying extra 70 quid for my season ticket, a miserable old git like me wants to be entertained with a few more victories. So that's been a bit anticlimactic, I think, going back to Villa Park.
Yeah, it's a good shout. The last question for the podcast is rating the season out of 10. And we obviously rated Gerrard. We all kind of said 6.5 maybe as an overall. So if you add in Gerrard Smith's first 10 games and the cup exit, I suppose, under him, surely it's less than a 6.5.
It surely has to be. It drops down to a 5, maybe even a 4.5. I'll have a 0.5 in there again. Actually, that's probably been generous, isn't it?
4 out of 10 for the season.
The first 10 games. We're basically rating the first 10 games, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
The disappointment I felt on that opening day of the season, thinking we were going to storm past Watford and stuff like that, it's not the best start you want to get to, is it? Set the tone for the season. 4.5, pushing 5.
Yeah, 5 out of 10 maybe. The season as a whole, finishing 14th. Close in a few games, but not good enough. Not at all, so yeah.
Go on, Matt. I'm just watching Steven Gerrard in the Champions League final from AC Milan on the TV up there.
I thought you got a crystal ball then for 5 years from now. I think I put 6 when I answered your question yesterday, but hanging around with these miserable sods, I think it is. I think it's got to be a 5, hasn't it? I think I don't know what your benchmark is, Ash, for the player ratings, but I think everybody starts with a 6, unless they do anything bad.
Yeah.
So I think we probably start with a 6, and I think it has dipped a little bit below that. So I think 5's about right. So what would you accept next year? 9.5.
Yeah, at least. That's it then for the end of season review. It's been weirdly good to look back on a pretty rubbish season with. I've enjoyed chatting to you all.
Yep.
Pat, did you enjoy your first podcast?
Thoroughly enjoyed my first in-person podcast. Yeah.
Ash, you had a nice time?
Yeah, I'll have a beer next time. Tea didn't do it for me.
Yeah, not a great look. Matt,
It's nice to meet Pat, isn't it? He's taller than you think. And
Everyone says that.
I had some advice from my fellow spectacle wearers over what do I need?
Microfiber, is it?
Microfiber. Clean my
I
glasses.
use that for the camera lenses and stuff.
do you?
Yeah, good.
Rob one of his.
Right.
Yeah.
Just you're all looking really, really well and really attractive
we?
anyway. So I clearly need the microfibers to get going.
I was going to say, when we did this at the start of the season, we've sat in these exact same places. You're half the man that you were back in August.
I am, and I'm half the size and twice as old.
But yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much to everyone who's watched over the course of the season. You kind of think at the end of the season, we'll have a nice break now to the start of the season, but we'll still be doing podcasts every week and Facebook Lives and all those kind of things. Because
when we switch our phones back on, Villa have signed 5 players.
exactly, yeah. So we'll be here to cover all the signings, and then back for pre-season, Australia, France, Warsaw, of course. Right up there, isn't it, with those two? And then all ready for it for the pre-season stuff in August. So thank you very much for watching the Claret Blue podcast. Subscribe, like, comment, all those kind of things, and we'll see you again probably in a couple of days when Villa announce Luis Suarez or something stupid. Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, up the Villa.